Welcome to Backstage with Kennedy. This little show will be your remedy. From Toronto, spanning across the sea. Cool people, lots of laughs. This is your favorite podcast.
Hello and welcome. My name's Kennedy from the Backstage with Kennedy podcast. I got a really great guest today. I got Brenna. Brenna is in a band called The Last Gang. They are a wicked band. If I could describe them in any way, it would be like pop punk with a little bit of fight to it. And also, Brenna's vocal range is killer, and it really leads the songs through whether it's very calm, chill songs or like in your face punk. So really excited for this one. I don't think there's been an album like her last album that I've enjoyed since maybe Useless ID's Greatest Hits or Get Dead's album. So yeah, that's a pretty high mark right there. So yeah, pleased to have Brenna on. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Just the weather's getting better. Music's coming around now. We got a lot of exciting shows this month. I mean, especially with Puza coming up, I'm really excited for that. So
I know.
yeah, I'm doing well. So you came on this podcast obviously to talk and hang out, but you are going to be coming to Southern Ontario on tour. It looks like Backstage with Kennedy alumni Belvedere's coming on tour with you for a couple dates, so I'm super excited for that one out in St. Catharines. I think I might swing by that one as well. But yeah, so how exciting is it to get this album that you released back in 2021 and be able to actually tour this and have some fun back on the road again?
It's been super lucky that we were able to do that. For me, touring is probably one of my favorite things to do, like aspect about being in a band. Just on stage. I don't know about the actual touring part. That could be fucking hard sometimes, but like being on stage, it's such an addiction. And then not having that for a good like couple years we made the best of it, and we try to keep our mental health above water a lot of the times. But I'm beyond happy that we got to do this again. It feels like I finally got to go home.
For sure. I feel that it's going back to venues and stuff. It feels coming back to it's like filling a void. I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah, I remember when my first like show back was we did like a quick run with Get Dead a little bit ago, and it was just some small like bar show. It wasn't like some epic like fucking fest or this or that. It was just above some coffee shop. PA was not even really the best PA, but when I heard the band before me play, and it was just that like, you know, that wall of sound that hits you, like you can't hear anything else, but you're incredibly present in that moment, and you just feel this like blanket of sound hug you. It was like that. It was at the moment, and like it like got me. It like gave me the feels. I'm like, oh my god, I'm finally back in this environment.
That first riff of the bass, I swear that is like, that feeling will never be replaceable for me. Like I heard a surf band, like a surf rock band, and that bass sound just got me immediately. I was like, wow, it's nice to be back at the venues.
It's like all those noises and the white noises and the sounds of people at a bar and talking and clinking and all of that just goes dead. And all you could hear is this very tangible presence of sound. And that felt so good. It was deafeningly loud.
100%. So being that I live in Toronto, and the Toronto date is at one of my places of employment, the Bovine Sex Club, I am super excited for that show. I do want to mention that you are playing that show with a brand new band from Toronto called Wise Guys. They frickin' rock. So I'm excited to see that show. It's a loaded bill. Is there a specific show on the tour that sticks out to you a little bit more than the others?
I'm excited to play Punta Fest. We've never, ever been. And honestly, every single date on this tour, we haven't touched any of these cities. So I'm excited because we've done like West Coast, and like Edmonton and Winnipeg, I think, whatever's right above North Dakota, like Fargo area. And so we've never been to this area. So I'm excited for all of them. I know it's kind of a cheap ass answer, but I am like, and a lot of the stuff I don't know yet. Like we haven't been advanced. Like, I don't know who we're playing with some of the dates. I heard from one interviewer that he thought we were playing with his partner, the Anti-Queens. And I thought that would be really cool. Yeah. But I think that was like a miscommunication. So I don't know if I'm playing with them or not, but that would be cool. But I'm just excited to go to a whole new city, whole new area that I've never been.
100%. Was that Michael Krusty that you did the interview with? Yeah. I love Krusty. He's a great
that guy's rad.
Yeah, so I mean Puza, that's an exciting one. I think everybody's circling that on their calendars, and I think something amazing about Puza Fest right now is like the month of May is always such a great great time to be in Southern Ontario for shows, because all these bands come to Toronto, Montreal, and they kind of do that Southern Ontario loop, and it all stems off Puza. So I mean, you're playing Puza and then Belvedere, and you are playing, I think, 3 shows together. So it's really quite cool how Puza kind of branches bands together and stuff through tours. I love that.
Yeah. It's just like necessity is the mother of invention. Like, you have this one show and bands want to play it, and then it slowly like evolves and grows where every band wants to play this, but there's not enough extra venues to play. So you start branching out and all these venues, and then it's just this scene grows. It's just this natural evolution of music in the scene. It's so cool to see.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So a little bit about the album, Noise, Noise, Noise. You have Yotam from Useless ID and Fat Mike both doing the production for it. What's it like working with those guys? I mean, I have had Yotam on the podcast, and him and I instantly clicked. I think he's such a great dude. What's it like working with those guys? Because they're brilliant for sure.
It's incredibly intimidating and humbling for sure. Because Yotam is he's a hit like machine. He just cranks stuff out like super quick and just what seems effortlessly. And when it comes to my writing process, it feels a little bit more of a struggle. It's a little bit more combative to get words and melodies out of my brain. So I envy them in the fact that it is so effortless for them. And also Fat Mike works so quick. His brain is just firing at like 1,000,000 miles a second, and it's hard to keep up. So luckily I brought my tape recorder, or not my tape recorder, my phone recorder, and I just recorded everything, and then I absorbed it back later, because I take time to take things in and really absorb them. It takes me a minute. So yeah, it was a little scary, but I like a new challenge. You know, it was fun writing with such wonderfully talented people who are well above me in their skills.
Well, you're very talented yourself. I'm very excited for the day, hopefully one day, that I get to meet Fat Mike, because through his interviews, through, everything that you see publicly, he is so witty, and you're right, so quick. Like, his brain is constantly going. So it would be exciting to hold a conversation with him for sure. Just to kind of, I don't know, take a look into his musical presence, I guess,
Yeah.
So what is your musical influence? I mean, like, if you could explain your sound in one way, or is there a specific band that kind of really pushed the sound of the band?
It's a big old hodgepodge, this melting pot of everything. It could be one moment, it could be years in the making of an influence. We all grew up punk. We all grew up some way or another, a little on the outside of the normalcy of social etiquette. So we've always had a way of thinking outside of the box, and that comes to our music too. We don't like pigeonhole ourselves, or like we're this type of band, or we write about this. It's whatever we are experiencing in life, that's what we go with. And this before 2021, it was a very tumultuous time, and we're not a political band, but we just happen to write a lot about politics, because it was it was palpable in the air. Like that's what I, it's what stirred up all of the emotions. So a lot of the songs end up being like that.
Yeah, it's when things like that are going on, like world events that are, really world changing, like it in some way or another, whether we wanted it to change or not. That's the
It's
kind of stuff.
happening.
It makes such good writing material. And I'm thinking like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when we look back at the music that was released in this time, everyone's gonna feel the emotion because they're gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, like
It was
what?
real heavy.
That was a real heavy time, right?"
Well, I mean, you think about, and I am no way comparing myself, by the way,
Yeah.
to Miss Billie Holiday or the struggle or the plight. But
Mhm.
you listen to songs like Strange Fruit,
Mhm.
and yes, that is a very moving song about lynching and murder and such a horrendous. But the fact that she did that live in clubs when that
Mhm.
was not allowed, like that is even more.
Yeah.
So, like that's the feeling, like and years from now when people are not empathetic to what we have been through because we're not going through it,
Mhm.
they're going to just look back and kind of feel that feeling that we were having. It's just, it's powerful.
100%. So, one thing I like to ask people, I love this question because everybody kind of comes from different roots of punk, and different influences and such. And sometimes you meet your idols, and that's a wicked time. And when you meet your idols, you really want to get some advice from them, I find. Otherwise, you're kind of just throwing it away.
Yeah.
So, was there anybody that maybe you looked up to, or that you were able to share the stage with, share the studio with, who gave you like a word of advice that really changed your career for the better? And what was that? If
Oh man. I don't think there's one pinnacle moment. It's
yeah,
this little like collage of moments.
hmm
And one of them that stays in my head is being able to share the stage for the first time, like Punk and Drublic, like the first shows we did. I'm like,
oh yeah,
oh my God, this is insane. Like this crowd and the level of production and the hundreds of people that it takes to put it on, it was gagging. And so the little moments of watching every band play on the stage and taking little pieces that I want to emulate from them. So it's not necessarily advice from them.
yeah,
It's what I'm watching them do, like seeing the Interrupters play.
mhm,
Um, they are consistent every night. It is, and not in a boring way. They've got it on lockdown. And sometimes younger bands, they might feel like I put my heart on the floor out there and I was so fast and energetic and chaotic, but that doesn't translate to a good show, to that moment where you can communicate with the audience that emotion. You're too insane. So I try to step back and be a little bit more methodical in how I move, because I can be super fucking bouncing off the walls
mhm.
energy. And you see someone like Mike who does have that same energy, I think, where it's just and he's able to harness it and really connect with the crowd and take moments to make that connection. So those are the little pieces I try to pick off of people on stage of what are you doing that I could do better.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. Like I used to do hip hop and I was always about being crazy on stage.
Yeah.
And then like now that I look back at it, I I went and I was working merch for Chicks Dig It, probably I want to say December, and Chicks Dig It had the one saying that everyone knows, give it up for Chicks Dig It. And I love that because it got the crowd so amped up, and like the people were like getting involved with it, you know what I mean? Which is awesome. And I think when you do take that step back and you're able to like as you said, methodically kind of work a crowd, unbelievable how much things change, for sure.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
it's a social experiment of like, how do we all kind of get on the same mind and the wavelength? How do we all kind of connect with each other? And
Mhm.
sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. Sometimes it's writing a great album. Sometimes it's having a great stage presence. Sometimes it's about like there's so many different aspects that you can really dive into your art and like make a connection with fans.
Absolutely. So Brenna, you said that you haven't touched the Toronto Montreal scene. Have
Not
you
yet.
been here at all?
Mm-mm. Never, never, never. The first time we went to Canada was on tour. And
Okay.
that's if actually the only time we've ever been on Canada is on tour. So I've never been. The closest I came, and I don't know how close this is.
Mhm.
It was in Chicago across the lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like the closest.
Yeah. It's it's still a bit away. Like I'd say like I think Detroit's a little bit closer,
Okay.
but like it's Chicago's not too far. It's a
Yeah.
drive for sure.
I saw the water. What was whatever lake that is? I forgot. It's not Lake Erie. It's Lake whatever.
I'm no
No,
geographer.
you're better than.
Well, I'm sure Melanie Kaye is gonna take good care of you guys when you come into the city. Shout out to Melanie for hooking this
Love
podcast
you,
up.
girl. Love
She's
you.
amazing. But I will be at your bovine show 100%, and I'll make sure that we grab a beer and talk more music. All right,
Yes,
Brenna, I
please.
appreciate you coming on the podcast. Everybody, please make sure you go see the show. You have to check out The Last Gang if you have not heard them yet. And yeah, I better see you all at the bovine. All right, Brenna, you have a good night. All right, take care.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.